I remember back in secondary school when life was simple, and our biggest worries were surprise tests and unfinished homework. My friend and I were partners in crime, always looking for ways to entertain ourselves in the most ridiculous ways possible. But one day, I pulled a prank that turned into a legend, a story that's haunted me for 11 years now. It all started during one of those unbearably boring classes where the teacher's voice sounded like a lullaby. My friend, who could sleep through a hurricane, was dozing off with his head on the desk. His phone, innocently lying next to him, caught my attention. An idea struck me, one of those ideas that makes you chuckle even before you act on it. I carefully slid his phone off the desk, making sure not to wake him. Then, with a sly grin, I changed my contact name to Dad and typed out a message that would change the course of that day, and possibly our friendship, forever. Satisfied with my masterpiece, I placed the phone back beside him and nudged him awake. He groggily picked up the phone, squinting at the screen. As he read the message, his eyes widened like saucers. "Is this real?" he muttered, more to himself than to anyone else. Then, without hesitation, he bolted upright. The message read, "Son, I won 300 million in the lottery, slot machine. I've already bought 5 tickets for the family. Pack your things and come home right now, we're leaving the country, Nigeria, Australia." What happened next is forever etched in my memory. He grabbed his books and hurled them into the air like they were trash, scattering papers everywhere. Then, with the entire class and the teacher watching in stunned silence, he turned to the principal, who just so happened to be observing the class that day, and raised his middle finger high. I chased after him, but he was faster than I expected. By the time I reached the school gate, he was long gone, sprinting in the direction of his house. I stood there, panting and wondering how I was going to fix this. My prank had spiraled out of control, and I wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry. Later that evening, I heard from one of his neighbors that he had burst into his house shouting, "Dad! Where's the money? When are we leaving?" His father, of course, was utterly confused. "What money? What are you talking about?" The realization must have hit him like a ton of bricks. He came back to school the next day, fuming. When he saw me, he didn't say a word. He just stared at me with a look that could kill. To cut the story short, it's been 11 years now, and he still hasn't forgiven me. Every time we meet at reunions or bump into each other in town, he brings it up with a mix of laughter and bitterness. "You made me raise my middle finger to the principal," he says, shaking his head. And every time, I can't help but laugh. It was the best prank I ever pulled, but it came with a price, a grudge that might last a lifetime.